Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to Sixx Daze. I am Bob Sixx, and today I'm taking a break from my break to address something that has shook me to my core. Before I get started and tell you what that is, I'd like to send out my condolences and best wishes to the families and friends that have been affected by the mass shootings of recent. If you're a victim of the mass shootings, I pray for you to get a speedy recovery and the help, any other help that you're going to need from this, because there's more than just the physical injury of it. So you have my heartfelt sympathy for what you've gone through. The reason I felt inclined to do this so strongly that I came off of my break from doing dark and serious stuff is Facebook and other social media was flooded with memes and posts, and they really disturb me. In a time like this, we should be focused on the victims and their families and their friends that have been affected by this before you go flying off the handle. I'm not saying we should ignore this. I'm not saying we should put it on the back burner. But first and foremost, your concern should be for these human beings that have gone through some shit that most of us can't imagine. I've tried to play these scenarios out in my head so I would be prepared, because I try to be prepared for everything. You don't even have a clue that it's coming. So that in itself makes it virtually impossible to prepare for. You can have a little game plan which might help, but so in these memes and posts, saw things like, all them rednecks with guns and no one. I've pointed this out in other videos. These guys don't do mass shootings at gun shows. It would end real quick. So all your little comments and hilarious memes, which by the way, none of them have been funny. As a comedian, even though I don't perform anymore, I'm still a comedian at heart. I know we have messed up senses of humor and we deal with shit in ways that would disturb other people. We make jokes amongst ourselves that would shake other people to their very core. But that's amongst ourselves. When you go doing it in the public, it better be damn funny. And I assure you, the posts that I've read and the memes aren't funny. Yet, not even kind of. And here's something that really got me to the point. I'm glad I had a few days to settle down before I shot this, because everybody that knows me knows I have a very foul mouth as it is, but the madder I get, the more foul it becomes. And I was totally envisioning YouTube having to take this down. So much that I was going to put it on my other channel where I don't care if it got taken down or that channel got a strike against it or whatever. So I've had time to calm down. But make no mistake, I'm actually starting to sweat at the thought of this. Instead of posting condolences and stuff for the families, I saw memes or comments, whatever you want to call them. Now some of them were, I'm going to say more correct in saying that in one of the incidences it was a white supremacist who had done it. Excuse me. They didn't bring up the other one. They focused in on this one. A white supremacist. Yeah, white supremacists do not represent white America. Just like gangbangers do not represent black America or the Hispanic America or any other nationality here. They're different. So for those of you that posted, it was a white guy with an AK-47. I've said numerous times that I do not feel any private citizen should have a fully automatic assault rifle. I know plenty of people that do, and they don't do anything wrong with it. It's for their protection. So, the ones that said it was a white guy with an AK-47, that kind of gives, especially on social media, the way shit gets blown out of proportion, kind of alludes to the fact, like, ha! It wasn't one of us. Here's a statistical fact for you. Most serial killers are white. That's not a stereotype, that's a fact. When the Maryland sniper or shooter, whatever they called him, tell me you weren't surprised when you found out it was a black guy. It's not a black crime. I'm not being stereotypical, I'm not being racial, I'm stating a fact. I would have bet my left nut against a half-eaten donut it was a white guy doing this, because it's a white guy crime. But even just saying it was a white guy, the AK-47, any intelligent person knows that does not represent all white folks. Not even a decent-sized portion of us. Because most of us don't want anything to do with that kind of shit. Most of us are not inclined to do that kind of shit. Just like the small amount of black criminals and Hispanic criminals and Asian criminals do not represent their nationalities or their race. That's a small part of it. But these mass shootings, yes, there's been, 249 mass shootings this year? And we're hearing a few of them. How many of you know that in Chicago, this year alone, 1,517 people have been murdered? And that's down, I think it said 243 from last year. That's a lot of people. Mass shootings didn't hit anywhere close to that. And I'm not saying one's better than the other or anything like that. This does need to be addressed. I do think we need stricter gun laws. And the reason for that is any normal, sane person don't mind waiting 6 weeks, a month, 6 months. Someone who's pissed off and they're trying to get a gun now so they can go do something like this, by the time 3, 4, 5, 6 months goes by, they shouldn't be that mad. Another thing is, we know the government watches what we do. When they raided the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas, they were there, notice ATF was there, because they realized or were tipped off that they were starting to amass a bunch of weapons and ammunition. So we know they watch that. So if you see an individual buy over a certain amount, over a realistic amount that you could use as a hunter or target practice, maybe you should start watching them. Maybe you should start checking into them. See, that there's all sorts of ways around it. Law-abiding citizens are the only ones the laws are going to affect anyways. Most of your criminals steal their shit. So there is no waiting limit. This is going to come out kind of wrong or sound kind of wrong, but most criminals are not the ones doing the mass shootings. Most of them, I'm not saying they're not murdering people, but they're not doing mass shootings as these psychopaths are. It's very important to distinguish between them. So when someone does something like this, they shoot up a place, they do a mass shooting, race shouldn't be a part of the description. A madman. I mean, see, it's even man, because women aren't statistically serial killers. There have been some. There's exceptions to every rule. There have been a few black serial killers. But the point is, there's something wrong with these individuals. So to make it a racial thing, or try to make it a racial thing, is just ignorant. Because once you get that seed planted into some people's minds, especially if they have something wrong with them, They're not going to see it as this individual just happened to be white or brown or yellow or whatever color. One more thing about the little facts that I read this week. One of them started off with, it wasn't a Muslim, or they simply put an immigrant. That's quite the Christian thing to do, isn't it? Because Christians are known for leaving out facts to try to shore up their arguments. Nobody has a problem with immigrants. It's illegal immigrants. That's where the real problem comes in. To shore up your immigrant argument, you're dropping off the illegal part. There's a huge difference between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant. I've said before, I have friends who came to the country illegally, but as soon as they got here, they became legal U.S. citizens. They speak the language, they pay their taxes, all of that, without letting go of who they are or where they came from. They came here seeking opportunity and they took advantage of it legally. I'm not saying it's not tough. I'm not even saying it's fair. But when you're stating your little facts about what's what, don't leave off the fact that you're trying to argue for criminals. I'm sorry, what you think and feel, illegally coming into the country makes you a criminal right off the bat. And if you think everyone coming across that border is good old wholesome folks that are just looking for a better way of life, you are lying to yourself. I agree that something needs to be done because they're increasing, and I think the media has a lot to do with that. Because these sick people think, is my opinion, I can do better than that, or look how much attention they got. That's what I want. Or it just plants the seed. Yeah, let's take them out. So we need to stop that on the media. Stop making it a 24-hour-a-day thing where we just see that nonstop. We know stuff's going on. And it's not black or white. It's someone that's got mental problems against unarmed citizens who can't defend themselves. So, how about if you want to make a change, stop promoting hate. Hate's not going to fix anything. We need to learn to accept one another and love one another and take care of one another. I don't know if you like this one. I hated having to do it, but I was just that moved because I couldn't believe what people were doing. So until next time, have a great day. Make someone laugh if you get the chance. I am Bob Sixx.